update from January and February. So the first thing that happened in January was we went to Thailand for 2 weeks. And while we were there, Daniel took 2 classes with Southeastern Seminary, 1 per week. And so during the first week while Daniel had class, I was hanging out with some of the other ladies. And we just processed what we've learned and what we've experienced during our first year-ish on the field. People who are serving all over the world. And then during the second week, a bunch of people got really sick, and so Daniel and all of his classmates were still in class and everything, but I and the rest of the ladies were basically just in survival mode, taking care of sick babies. So it was still a really good trip, and we really loved getting to see friends that we hadn't seen in a long time, eating amazing Thai food, and we even got to ride an elephant, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And after we got done with Thailand, immediately when we got home, we had a team retreat for our Tokyo team. And so that looked like one day of in-town meeting and vision casting and all that fun stuff you do at a team retreat. The next day after that in-town meeting, we went up to a place called Hawiians Spa and Resort. And that was a big old indoor and some outdoor pool, heated pools, water park, and hotel. And we got to go there with the team and have some bonding time, have some fun together. And then also we had some great opportunities to talk with some missionary families that we don't normally get to hang out with in our city. So that was really wonderful. And then we had about a week of classes after that. And then we went to Taiwan. And for Taiwan, that was a refreshment week, a remember what you got trained on week, and fellowship week with others who are like us in our first term. And that was really good. And that was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, and then in February, we experienced a lot of very emotional things in February. None of them like world-ending, none of them terrible, but it was just a really heavy month. But we're looking forward to see how God uses those things in the future. Also, in conjunction with all of that, part of those hard emotional things was the workload that we had. Daniel was finishing up his coursework for those 2 classes from Thailand. He still had papers to write. So he finished those, praise the Lord. That's the last papers that he'll have to write for this master's degree. And then another thing that we started in February, we started visiting other churches. Like, we have our main church that we attend here in Tokyo, but we've started visiting other churches maybe once or twice a month, just basically to establish a connection, establish relationship between our team here in Tokyo and these pastors and leaders, which is a huge part of our strategy in Tokyo. So yeah, that's been really good so far.
Yeah, and then along with that, our full-time language study is coming to a close for this term. At the end of April, we're going to be transitioning out of full-time language into once a week, twice a week lessons, and then full-time ministry to prepare for the Olympics.
Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So
each of us will still be doing lessons on a smaller scale, really to course adjust as we go and do our own personal studies and maintain what we have, and hopefully even continue moving forward. So what this change really means for us is we're going to be doing full-time ministry and getting the ministry experience part of what we're doing, but we're probably not going to be able to finish the language requirements. That's more so me than Tara, but the cool thing is next term when we come back, we'll just be able to top that language stuff off and then transition into prayer.
So some prayer requests that we have going into March and spring in general. Just first of all, please pray for our relationships with our teachers. We have a few teachers, and one of them did not take the news about this transition into ministry all that well. So please pray for us as we converse with her, as we maintain our standing with her as missionaries, and she's not a believer, so we are representing Christ to her, and so we need to show that we respect our supervisor and his decisions, as well as we trust God in these next steps. So yeah, just pray for that relationship.
And be praying for Tara. She is going to be taking this thing called a face-to-face test, which is a conversation test that gets recorded, sent to a third party to get graded, and then we find out what level she's at with the language. We're hoping and praying that the possibility of her being done with the language requirement is possible through this test. We don't know for sure, but there's a good chance that it could be true. So please, please, please be praying for her. That's kind of the biggest hurdle for the spring for us. And then pray for me, like, continue.
And then also, I mentioned the church visits that we're doing. Just be praying for those relationships. Pray that our visits to these churches would be fruitful and helpful to our team's strategy in connecting with these pastors and leaders, because in order to reach Tokyo, we need all hands on deck, not just missionaries. We need all Christians in Tokyo to be reaching the lost. So just pray that those visits would be fruitful.
Yeah. And then lastly, as part of this transition from my lecture in class stuff for my degree to practicum stuff, we're going to be having a mentor couple taking this on here within our team. And so you'll be praying for that relationship as that couple gets back on the field from a stateside time, and as we get things going with that relationship, knocking out goals, knocking out requirements, and honestly just growing in our abilities and understandings as missionaries here in Tokyo. And that goes for both of us, not just me and my language, or not just me and my learning and seminary stuff, but for both of us as a couple, learning how to serve as a family and do that well here in Tokyo. So thank you so much for watching this update video. It's a little bit longer than usual, probably, but it's been 2 months since we've seen you guys. So thank you again for popping by, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. That will give us some features that we don't have access to, especially having our own link that has our name. I'll put a little example here above. But thank you again for watching and keeping up with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
We love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.